is Fionnula McHale and I am 26 years old. I compete in the sub 63 kilo category for powerlifting, and I am about 5'8", 5'9", I guess. I'm not really sure what my height is. I suppose I'm first and foremost a medical doctor, but I went on to specialise in functional medicine, and so I now have my own private clinic in functional medicine. I also lecture functional medicine and functional sports nutrition at the Institute of Health Sciences, and I'm also a strength coach, and I work with Bob and Merck's Victory. I'm not really much of a TV show / film person. I kind of more like to read a really good book than to watch TV. So I guess if I was to pick movies, like I really liked the recent World War Z and Olympus Has Fallen, so kind of action thriller movies I really like. I suppose I have to say the deadlift. Now you're probably going to say my form is terrible, and I know that, but it's my favourite lift to do. It's my best lift. So I'm national single lift champion in the squat, deadlift, bench press, national full powerlifting champion, and European powerlifting champion, and I have national records in the deadlift, squat. I don't know if I have a training style as such. I suppose I do the basic strength work, and it's nothing really new or innovative. I suppose my philosophy being that the human body hasn't changed that much in the last 100 years, so training methods haven't really, so I really just do a lot of relative strength work, I suppose, coming up to the competition. But before that I do a lot of technique, structural balance, so we'll be doing some higher stuff initially, obviously phase of periodization, and very much guided by my coach Bob. I suppose powerlifting since January competitively. Obviously I've done strength training before that, and I suppose my background in competitive swimming has probably helped to some degree with my powerlifting abilities, so I'd say powerlifting since January. Not at all. I prefer to train alone, and I just feel like I don't like to be distracted by other people, I do need a coach, so yeah. I guess I've always really had a competitive nature, so growing up, I was always involved in competitions, like in competitive swimming, as I mentioned before, the debating, public speaking. I've always had a very competitive mindset, and I suppose then I started to realise that I was actually quite strong, and I was encouraged by Bogdan, of course, to start to compete, and it's gone from there really. So it's probably a love of competing that's pushed me into powerlifting, willingly, of course. I suppose that nutrition really is probably the biggest mistake you can make. I suppose the knowledge that training is really just 1 hour of your day. You have to focus on what happens in the 23 hours outside of that. So sleep is hugely important. That you're taking in enough calories. So particularly as females, we tend to be so restricted with calories. We don't want to take in fats or carbs, whereas some days I could eat upwards of 4,000 calories a day, so it is important to make sure that you're really meeting your calorie demands for the day, as well as things like avoiding stress as much as possible, or indeed just learning techniques to cope with stresses. So I do think that's probably, from a beginner's perspective, those are the mistakes. I suppose I'm relatively new to the sport. The craziest thing I've probably seen so far is Shawnee doing his amazing deadlifts. It's great to see like so many people at that age. I'm not sure what age he is, I think 65 or possibly upwards of that, but I just thought that was really inspiring. For upping my lifts, sleep. Without a doubt. I think, like I alluded to kind of earlier, was really, I suppose, the fact that training is only one minor part of the whole equation. So to really focus on all the other things, nutrition being a huge area, and as well, I suppose, like I said, all of the other things is around your day. So it's difficult when it's not a professional sport. So people have to work, we have to do all of the other things in life, and I think that's what makes the difference, is really focus not just on the training but everything else that goes around training. I guess my titles that I hold would be my accomplishments. So to win the European Championship was amazing. Like, that was a great achievement for me. I suppose other than that, like, I love that I did my 150 kilo deadlift. But you know, I'm obviously hoping to go a bit higher than that. Well, I suppose I was meeting Bogdan Mertz, my coach, and that was really what motivated me to start weight training. So, supposed to give you a bit of history. I used to be a competitive swimmer. I stopped that from my leaving cert to get a medicine. Obviously, to get those points, you have to give up everything else. And so then to keep up fitness and to keep my weight down, I used to be a very obese child. I went to the gym, so I'd be spending a lot of time running on the treadmill. Sometimes I could be in the gym for, say, upwards of 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, just doing a lot of cardio. Wasn't really seeing any changes in my physique, but you know, I was maintaining, I wasn't putting on weight, so I was happy enough. Then I met Bogdan, who introduced me to strength training, and that was just really an epiphany for me, because it meant I didn't have to spend upwards of 2 hours in the gym. I didn't have to do cardio twice a day, which, to be honest, I found really, really boring. And I noticed fantastic changes in my physique, and that really got me hooked. And to be honest, I really enjoyed the strength aspect. I like lifting heavy, I like feeling strong, I like walking into the gym and know that I can probably outlift most of the guys in there. And yeah, that's it, I guess. So I suppose the easiest way for a female to begin weight training is because they see the initial changes in their physique, and that's what gets them. Yeah. So deadlift, I have to say, is my favorite lift. Like, I don't actually train deadlift a lot with my training, just because it's quite a big move to recover from. I'm sure everyone will know. But yeah, in competition, it's my favorite. I just like that I can focus on that lift. I don't have to worry too much about the judges. I can just zone in, just have to lift that weight off the ground. I love that. I suppose a love of training. I've always loved exercise. I love paying attention to my nutrition. I love just the physical aspect of it. I've always been a really physical person. I like to train, I like to push my body, and it just gives me a great buzz. So I guess that's, if we're looking from a functional medicine perspective, I guess that's that dopamine hyperdrive that I really crave. Yeah, I guess that's what keeps me motivated. So it's not so much that I motivated for a specific competition, but that I just love the training. I suppose initially it would have been when you're kind of surrounded by a lot of people who like to go out, have a few drinks, which I have no problem with, but I suppose from a health perspective, from a wellness perspective, and indeed from a performance perspective, it's not something that you can do. That's difficult when you're surrounded and you're in that social circle. I suppose I don't pay too much attention most of the time to calories. I tend to just eat really clean. From a functional medicine perspective, I suppose the idea being that if you eat a lot of clean nutrient-dense foods, you know, you really nourish the metabolism, and so you can actually burn fat in quite a high calorie diet, particularly if you are training like I would be training. So you know, that level of activity, you can eat a lot more calories. And like I said, that's probably something that a lot of new athletes make a mistake with, you know, not paying enough attention to getting enough nutrition in. I wouldn't be someone who restricts fat or carbs or anything like that. I time them so that, you know, I'm making most use out of the muscle sensitivity to insulin as opposed to the fat sensitivity, you know, to minimize fat storage. Obviously, coming up to competition, then you might look a little bit closer at your calories if you're trying to make weight, which for me, I suppose, has definitely been something that I've had to do a lot of research about it and find out a lot about, because I'm kind of at the edge of the the weight category, and probably hoping to get down to the sub 58.5 for the next competition. So I will be looking at that a little bit more closely. But at the moment, I suppose, how's my nutrition and calories? Calories somewhere, like I said, some days up to upwards of 4,000 calories per day, and plenty of protein, fats, carbs, balanced meals, and carbs more around training times. Yeah. Well, hugely important, because obviously that's what I do for a living. So, yeah, that's a major factor for me. So I think if you train as hard as I would train without doing the nutrition, you can just forget about it. You may as well have wasted that session by not paying enough attention, particularly to the peri-nutrition. So yeah, nutrition is massively important. You can't do it any other way. It has to be timed perfectly. If you're going to train, you want to make sure that you're fueled up enough for that training session, otherwise you're wasting your time. And again, you want to make sure that you pay close attention to post-nutrition, so that you're recovering well, so that you can train hard again the next day. So without it, to be honest, there's no other way to do it. Yeah. My favourite food? Oh God, where do I start? So, let's see, my favourite food. Can I include coffee? Okay, food. I really like a good steak. Can't beat it. Oh my God, butter. I hate butter so much. I don't know why. I don't have anything against it nutritionally, but I just hate the look. I hate the smell. I hate everything about it. I think it might actually be a phobia. I hate it that much. So if you really want to piss me off, butter is the way to go. I'd say about 5 days a week. Strength training 5 days a week, and I might do some interval sprints. Obviously at the moment the weather is gorgeous, so it makes it a lot easier to do things like that. Being able to be out in the fresh air is something that I really like. So, and to be able to do a few sprints outside is great, even though it absolutely kills me. But you have to push your body at different times. Where do I train? I train here in Club Vitae in Cardiff Lane. I love training here. I've been to a lot of gyms around the world, and this is my favourite. Other places that I really like to, obviously the guys in Galway are really great. Club Vitae in Galway are great. Whenever I'm home in Galway, they allow me to use the facility, which is really great. Yeah, that's my training. I don't really have a training style as such, mainly core strength work. I don't follow any particular method, not Bulgarian, not any type of specific training. I think specific training methods that I've developed over the years are probably, they really only apply to professional athletes. If you're talking about someone who's going to train twice a day, you can't do that if you're also working, and you have all of those other things in life that you have to deal with. So I guess I train like 5 days a week. I will periodize it quite well, so I'll spend a lot of time structure balance. I will do a lot of kind of high rep stuff initially, just to kind of build up the muscles and the joints and whatever, and then focus on the relative strength towards competition. Okay, so I'm a real freak when it comes to music. To be honest, I like most types of music, but I like it in different situations. So like some days I might like classical music if I'm trying to chill out. Or in the gym I'm a big fan of hip-hop music, so it has to be like Dr. Dre, like I really like Still Dre, Kanye West of course, like Click, Mercy's a really good song. I like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Wayne, yeah, so all of the really good hip-hop stuff. Training, for me it's quite easy. I'm quite flexible with my schedule. I make it work for me. I always have. There's never really been a point, apart from when I was quite obese, that I struggled to make it work. There's no excuses. Training, that's 5 days a week I train, usually not even an hour. That's not even 5 hours out of your whole week. It's not hard. People just make excuses for not training. Whether you're training for fat loss, whether you're training for strength, whatever your goal is, it's not hard to make that time during the week. Certainly not exempt. It's all down to excuses. And nutrition is easy. I make my lunch boxes the night before work. I don't ever leave anything to chance. If I'm traveling, particularly if I fly a lot for courses to the States, so you have to make that work for you. Particularly if people have intolerances. So things that are useful on a plane are like nuts and snacks that you probably pick up. Sometimes I would bring some protein powder and make it up on the plane, or America's great because everywhere you stop you can get like some sort of relatively healthy snack in Ireland, it's a lot more difficult. But you know, you have to make it work for yourself. Preparing your lunch boxes in advance is probably the best way to do that. Yeah.
What sacrifices have you made?
I don't think I've made any sacrifices in life for my training. Like I said, I make it work for me, and that's just the way it is. Like, I'm not the type of person that's going to moan about, oh, I've had to give up this and I've had to give up that. You know, you make it work for you. Yeah. Get a coach. Yeah, I would definitely get a strength coach. You know, strength training is not something that you can just go into the gym, lift a few weights, do a few squats or a few dumbbells. You know, you really have to make sure that you know what you're doing. So technique-wise, you know, I probably laughed about the fact that my deadlift technique is horrific when it comes to competition, but you know, that's for one lift, that's 3 reps total, and that's to lift the heaviest amount you can. But in training, I would never ever be seen doing a technique like that. You know, you have to be really careful not to get an injury. So having a coach is of paramount importance for anybody beginning off. Yeah. Pet peeve, when somebody steals my stuff. Okay, I really hate, and particularly because you're in the weight section, it tends to be male dominated, testosterone fueled, where they see a chick who's lifting heavier weights than them. It really seems to get people annoyed. So I really hate when someone takes my barbell and I'm clearly using it. Okay, that's all. I wouldn't say that there was any single event. I guess, well, I suppose to give a bit of background, when I was in college studying medicine, I kind of enjoyed the first few years biochemistry, the real science stuff, probably became a little bit disillusioned with medicine towards the end, and that really affected me because I didn't really know where my life was going to go after that. And you know, I've been working so hard to get into this course, and all of a sudden that's not what I want to do. A few things happened, I suppose. My grandfather, who would have been a huge, because my parents separated at a very young age, he was like a father figure to me. And you know, I remember even as a child, I won some national essay competition. The person I most admired was my grandfather, and then he passed away around the same time. He'd struggled with cancer a lot, and I'd gone into medicine thinking that I was going to be able to save him, and then obviously that didn't work out either. I kind of had a difficult breakup around the same time, so that was probably a real low point for me. Things just weren't going the way I would have liked. Yeah, so all of those things came together. It was probably rock bottom for me out of any period of my life. That's probably the worst. And I suppose then I came through college, I met my current love of my life, Bogdan, and he opened possibilities for me. So he introduced me to things like functional medicine, which I now love. It's my passion. It felt like my calling. So suddenly I felt satisfied in life, and I guess that was the real turning point. So I think with everything in life, once you reach a turning point, a real low point, a real rock, you have to hit rock bottom before you can appreciate the good stuff. No, not overhyped, maybe misunderstood. I think it is a real threat, particularly in the society that we live in now. You know, overtraining, I suppose, from a functional medicine perspective, again, we see it as, I suppose, more of an adrenal fatigue type picture. You know, that like I alluded to probably earlier, that training is not something that you do in isolation. You have to do all of those other things around it. So, for example, if someone is particularly stressed in life, so they may have financial worries, relationship issues, you know, they have a family at home, you know, all of these things are stresses at the end of the day, and once you exercise is a stress as well. So unless you do all of the other things around exercise to ensure that you're not overstressing the body, then something's got to give, and that's what happens really with overtraining. So no, definitely not hype. I suppose the best ways I would suggest to avoid overtraining is obviously to keep the training long, and if your weights are coming down a lot, that's a pretty good sign that you need to do something. You know, motivation, I suppose, is another thing that you want to look at. If someone's really not motivated in the gym anymore, you know, it's happened to myself, I'm not going to lie. You need to look at maybe they're training too much, cut back a little. I don't believe in just going hell for leather every single week. You know, rest is really important. And personally, what do I do? Because yes, I have quite a stressful job. I have a lot on, particularly with my clinic and my lecturing. So it tends to be quite stressful. How do I manage that? I do things like Bikram yoga. I do like meditation. I do deep breathing techniques, and that helps me. You know, I think the important thing is to be aware of it rather than anything else. So an awareness is probably key to wellness. In life, or okay, best thing I ever bought was probably my Apple iPhone. I'm not gonna lie, that thing doesn't go. I don't go anywhere without that thing.
Even though it's smashed.
Even though it's smashed, the screen is smashed. Yeah, but you know, I make it work. My perfect day. Get up early. I'm an early bird. I don't like to sleep in too much. Have a really nice coffee. Yeah, I'm a big coffee fan. And then I usually like to do my training in the morning. You know, I like to get a good workout in after my coffee. And then I like to maybe chill out with my boyfriend, do the usual things. You know, I really like this weather is amazing. I really like the sun. I like to be outdoors, and sunbathing is amazing. I love to be in the sun. I like kind of, I suppose, a typical day. Yeah, it'd be great if after my workout I could go sunbathe for the whole day, but that's not usually an option in Ireland. I suppose I do like to be outdoors. Places I like to go would be like Climbing Hill, and walk my dog or my friend's dog. Thanks, Gordon, for letting me walk Ruby. Yeah, so that's, I guess, a typical day for me. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So, you know, like I said, like I always say to ladies who train in the gym, who ask me for advice, you know, like if you're lifting 2 kilo dumbbells and you're not seeing any changes, well, you know, it has to be something that's going to challenge you. I suppose, from a powerlifting perspective, I'll never forget probably at the National Powerlifting Championships, and I was just going up for my final attempt at the deadlift, and I remember the judge in front of me going, "Controlled aggression, controlled aggression." I tend to get very psyched up, I suppose is the word, but yeah, I thought that was a great quote, because, you know, you let the aggression go too far and you'll miss the lift. So yeah, I liked that controlled aggression. It stayed with me. Thanks, whoever it was.